What's up everyone, this is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for today's review we are looking at the Robot Spirits Robot Damashii Heavy Arms, Gundam Heavy Arms Kai or Custom. If you're not too familiar with it, just know that this is the only Robot Damashii version of this guy. It says Custom or Kai depending on where you look because of the fiction behind the character, not because of the different version or something. So this is the one you want to get. You don't have to worry about looking for another one. It's number 142 if you're using that to help look for it. As you can see, really nice box art of the figure. Of course, they have the eyes lit up a little bit more than they are on the figure, but still. And then, of course, we have on the side the really cool looking stance, just a standard hero pose. And then on the back, some more of that image from the front, and then just some more of the options as well. So pretty cool. Of course, there is text back there, but I don't read that. I can't read that, so I can't help you there. Alright, that's enough for the packaging. Let's look at the actual figure. Another Gundam Wing figure, which by my opinion is always a good thing. And this guy is a particularly good figure. Even if you don't like Gundam Wing, you'd probably like this figure. He stands about 5.5, just over 5.5 inches tall. So pretty good size. Definitely one of the newer designs since he's not so tiny as some of the other ones like the Strike Freedom. And just a really nicely composed figure. Of course, it's based on the character art, which is a really nice design, so you can only screw it up so much, and they didn't screw it up at all. So really good, really happy with this figure. Tons of nice paints. If you can't tell on camera, sometimes the colors are off, especially reds, it seems. There are 2 different shades of red there, so the paintwork is really nice. It's darker here, lighter here. We have all the different yellows and oranges going on. Again, there's 2 shades on the side skirts as well. The blues, the whites, 2 different shades of yellow and orange right there. Hopefully you can tell the difference. Just really nicely detailed. The guns on his chest, or on his shoulders there. Even the ones on the head and those red parts. Can you see the little gold detailing? Hopefully the camera's focusing on that. Just tons of great detail. Paintwork's awesome. The whites and grays and silvers, sorry, I zoomed in too far. The whites and grays and silvers throughout the legs, even on the ankle plate, there's tons of detail. Let's go ahead and just run through the figure real quick and then we'll pull out the accessories. So the head is articulated on, I didn't pull it apart yet, so I'm not positive, but it is at least a single ball peg on top of the neck and one below the neck. So the neck is articulated and the head is as well. So no problem at all posing this guy. Even those shoulder mounted guns are not going to really get in the way too much. So that's nice. The shoulders have the butterfly joint, which works really well. Brings the arm really far forward so you can get the arms across the chest no problem. That's really nice. I love it when they do that. And then of course on top of the butterfly is just a standard ball peg, so the arm moves around that nicely. You can see the hinge for the shoulder pad right there, so the shoulder pad can articulate on its own. I love the fact that they actually have something inside the shoulder pad. Again, I know that's a design thing and not really the figure thing, but I don't like it when it's just an empty shoulder pad. And this one, when it's down, it looks like it's all one nicely put together piece, so I do appreciate that. So you can fold that up if you want to, and of course the shoulder is articulated. You can see the hinge right there on top of that ball peg. So you have the ball peg and then this hinge as well. So tons of articulation for the shoulder. The bicep swivel is actually a ball peg, so you do get a little extra articulation out of that as well. Double jointed elbow, really good range of motion. Pretty much 180 if it wasn't for just the body parts being in the way. And then the wrist is a double ball peg, so you can pop the hands off since they are interchangeable to show you. There's no hinge part in there, it's just a standard peg on either end, but still decent amount of articulation. You don't really need to move the wrists too much on this guy because he doesn't really hold anything. So that's really just going to be as far as, or used for posing purposes. And then on top of the shoulder articulation, we have this little bit of articulation, which isn't really articulation. Well, I mean, I guess it technically is. Come on, if I could open it. He's got his guns up there that are hidden by that little pad or plate of armor, so that's really cool. And then on the chest, we also have some more opening features. And that opens up to display some really nicely detailed, nicely sculpted and painted guns as well. Oh, I gotta stop saying as well. Alright, then we have the ab crunch, which as you can see, hopefully, is built in around that orangish part, so that tucks in really well. It doesn't have the greatest range of motion as far as that tuck goes, but due to the ball joint for the lower abdomen, you can really get this guy bent over pretty far. He leans back nicely, and then the side to side only comes from the ball peg. There's no locking mechanism or anything else in there, but that's okay. It's nice and stiff, but not too stiff, so really good range of motion. Before we go any lower, I want to point out the backpack. It does come off. It's not on him in the packaging. You're gonna have to put that on yourself. I don't remember from the show, but I'm pretty sure this version of him, he always has this, so I don't think you ever want to actually leave that off, but I could be mistaken. It's been a little while since I saw it. Each one of these is on its own ball peg. It could be a double ball peg, but I don't think so. I think it's just a single, and I don't think you're going to use those too much. You're probably just going to leave them pretty stationary. We'll get to those peg holes in a minute. Also, one of the other accessories you have to put on him is his blade for his arm, and that just pegs on. If I can take it off to show you, that just pegs on right there. So you leave that on there, and it's just the hinge. But it's nice because the blade, and unless I'm crazy, it might just be the way it's shaped. It looks to me like the blade itself is a lighter color, but it's really hard because it's a nice metallic. Both colors, if there are two, I'm pretty sure there's two, and it's not just the lighting that's different. It looks like it on camera especially, so I'm pretty sure that's actually a separate color, which I appreciate so much. Every little detail that they put into these guys, I love it. I absolutely love it. Alright, so let's move down to the skirt flaps. The front pieces are both individually articulated on the standard ball peg design that they always do. The side ones are ball pegs as well, but they have a pretty limited range of motion. They don't have too much. You can spin them, which is okay, but they're so big, they don't really get out of the way too much. You can see they're still hitting the hip there. So you're not going to get those out of the way a whole lot as far as moving the legs to the side. It's probably more than enough for this guy because he's going to be in relatively static poses just using his guns. So it's probably fine. If you really want to, you can lean the torso back a little bit, or to the side a little bit, I mean, and you can tuck those in a bit more to get the leg out a little farther. So you probably will have no problem posing him as you want to. It's just something to note that these do block a little bit more than some of the other ones. The back plate, it pops off. Now I don't know if that's just because of the add-on parts kit you can get for him and you can replace this. I don't remember. I don't have that kit, so I'm not sure. But popping this off serves no purpose for the person like me who just has the basic figure. You can get to the screw that holds his crotch together though if you want to. So I'd leave that on probably if I was you, and if I can get it back on. Alright, the hips are on ball pegs. We don't have that double hinge for the forward and sideways motion, so it's just a standard ball peg in that gray socket right there. The leg does come up pretty far, about 90 degrees. It can't really go any farther due to the skirt pieces, and we already covered the sideways motion. Full swivel, no problem there. Double jointed knee goes all the way around. I'm not sure what's going on here with this white piece with that little pin in there. It looks like that piece should actually articulate, but I can't get it to move anywhere. It might just be for looks, I'm not sure. It looks like it could, due to the pin, could move, but I don't see where that piece is going to go, and it doesn't say anything about it in the instructions. So I just don't know. If somebody out there knows, let me know in the comment section. But it looks like to me it's probably just for aesthetics, which is okay because it's a really nice looking knee joint. We do have these guns again on the legs. Those open up and have some nicely detailed, I think those are actually missiles that shoot out of there. So that's pretty cool. I like that. And then the ankle articulation is pretty standard for the robot Damashii figures. I'll pop that off to show you. The ankle plates, by the way, do a really good job of hiding all of the articulation. It's just really, really well done. The piece that holds that is hinged, so that can swing forward and back, and of course it's a ball peg that this actually snaps onto. So you're going to have no problem at all covering that ankle. The ankle peg down here is hinged, so you can get your ankle rocker going that way. And then, of course, that's just a ball peg down there that has a really good range of motion. So you can get the foot pretty much in any pose you want just using that ball peg and hinge alone. But you do have your toe hinge on top of that. So really, if you can't pose this guy's ankle the way you want it, you're doing it wrong. This guy's ankles are probably the best I've seen on any of the RD figures to date. So that's the basic details of the figure itself. As you can see, it's really, really good. Now let's look at what we have. We have two fist hands that come on the figure. We have two holding accessory hands, though I don't think you're going to be using those too much. And then we have two open hands, which are kind of standard. The open fingers for cool poses hands. We have the peg stand thingy. I don't know if that actually has a name. That's going to peg in on the bottom of the backpack like that. I'm not going to actually put it on, but that'll peg in there. And then so you can use the stage 5 or even a stage 4 stand. These pieces here, you have them and they peg on either side. They are the same piece technically. It's the same little piece of plastic. And you can put them this way if you want to. Actually, I think that's how you're supposed to do it. I don't know. We're going to put them this way because that's how I already have one on. It doesn't matter though. It works either way. Let's just look real quick to make sure. Where is it? Down here. So they have them the way I don't have them. They have them curving away from the figure. I have them curving toward the figure. But I'll show you why it doesn't really matter. As long as you can fit the gun on that peg, that's all that really makes a difference. And so you can play around with it. If you want them to point up like that, you can put them the way I did. Or you can do it the right way, and I'll show you how that looks too. So that means you just have them like this, so they're shaped like an L or a J. Where'd the other one go? Put them on like that. One thing I do wish is a little bit better articulation, and this would have been if they used a round peg for this instead of a square peg. I would have appreciated that. So then you can put the guns on there like that. And so they can go up like that. You can point them down if you want to, obviously. You can flip them around. I don't think anybody would really want to do that, but you can if you want to. And then these can also swing around and be used as blasters like that. So that's pretty cool. And of course you can do them both at the same time. So he can just be loaded with goodies. And then let's look at these a little bit closer, because there's something about these guns that I'm not too sure about, and the instructions cover it, but since I can't read it, I'm not sure what they're talking about. These pieces pop off, first of all. I don't know why. I think they are always on there, unless you're talking like battle damage or something. I'm pretty sure they're always there. They tell you they can come off, and they show you when you're putting it on his back that this piece pops off. However, it's there, and I remember it always being there, and it's there for the gun hands and everything, so I don't know why that piece comes off, but it does. That's not the issue though. The issue is this red piece. This is essentially just the forearm of the figure, and they tell you, see it's the exact same piece, just about. The only difference is that gray bit on the end, and it doesn't have a peg hole, I don't think, but that's not the important part. So they tell you to swap out this. You can pull this out when you put it on his back, which makes sense. You don't have a forearm hanging off of his back, so that's fine. But up here, they tell you to swap out the whole forearm, and they tell you can turn that. Now, I don't know why. I can't read this, so I'm not sure what they're saying there, but I don't understand why they want you to swap out the whole forearm. Yes, you can do it, and it works just fine. If you pop it off, if you can do it. Come on. I just had it off too. So that pops off right there. And you have the square peg, and that goes in there, and then the arm has the gun, which makes perfect sense, no problem. Right? So that's on there. If I can get it on. Okay, it snaps on nice and tight, no problems. Everything works. Now on this side, I'll show you what my question is. Why can't we just do this? Because they made this come out, obviously, so you can put it on his back without the forearm. And maybe this is why. No, because they want you to pull it out. Yeah, so I don't get it. I don't understand. You pull that out, which is really tricky, by the way. You can't really get a good grip on it. Unless, no, pulling those off doesn't help. No, I'm not going to be able to do it. Okay, so you pop that off, and then you see it's just a ball peg socket. I don't know if you can kind of see it in there with the light. So I don't know why we can't just leave it like that and just swap that, and then you never have to put the forearm piece on, or remove this forearm piece when you put it on his back. You don't have to worry about it, and you don't ever have to pull off the original forearm piece. So I'm not sure why you're supposed to swap out that forearm piece. So if anybody knows, you can let me know, and I would appreciate it. Because as you can see, it's just about the exact same thing. Maybe the difference is just that it's a little bit shorter when you use the one that it comes with compared to the one that is meant for the hands. You can see it's not quite the exact same. I think that's just from that gray piece. That gray extending piece right there for the hand makes this one stick out a little bit longer. So that might be it. I don't know. If you know, let me know. But either way, you won't have any trouble with this guy. Whether you want to swap out the forearm pieces or not, that's really up to you. I'd say go ahead and just do what they tell you to do because they know what they're talking about, and I'm just playing with the toy. But it's still something for a little bit of curiosity, I think. So that's pretty cool. I love this guy. Without a doubt, if you collect Gundam figures, you probably should buy this guy. He's one of the cooler ones I have, if not the coolest. And he's just so well done. Every little detail looks perfect. Absolutely love this guy. So there it is, guys. There is the Robot Damashii Gundam Heavy Arms from Gundam Wing. 100% recommend this figure. Thanks for watching. Stay tuned for more figure reviews, custom figures, and other good stuff. And in the meantime, keep collecting.